Welcome back, guys. This is the Ball Club. We have your guest. Wow, I'm stupid. I said guest. What is wrong with me?
We gonna keep
Take
that in.
some time, bro.
You
Please
gotta
don't
keep
keep
that
it
in.
in.
You gotta
The guest? Nah. Oh, I meant to talk about.
one
Do you want
take.
to have guests one
No,
day
not
too?
one take.
Real fast. Would you ever consider having guests one day?
Oh yeah, I was thinking about having one. Hakeem.
Copy. I was thinking about somebody too, but that's for another day. That's the thing. All right.
Just let us know.
3. Copy. 3. Hi guys, welcome back to the Ball Club. You have Justin, Keith, and Jaden. And today we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia situation and James Harden's current situation going on. Who wants to start it off?
You want to talk about Nets versus Philly first, Jaden?
Damn.
Because I didn't watch the whole game because second
I
half.
watched the whole game.
It just looked like it fell apart to me.
I didn't watch. No, I'm lying. I definitely watched the whole game. That game was it. In my opinion, it showed a lot from both sides. And I'll start with Philadelphia first, since that's who Justin said we'll start with. For Philadelphia, I feel like James Harden gave us a little preview of what could happen in the future, because James Harden, and I don't want to call it a game because it's still the regular season, but because of everything leading up to the game, that's what made it a big game. This nigga shot like 3 for 15. Where were you? You hit your 1-3, and then I'm glad you brought that up, because today I don't know if it was today, but he wanted to post some shit on, I think it's IG, about passing Reggie Miller for the 3, and everybody was clowning him because it was like, yeah, congratulations, but where were you for the rest of the game? Matter of fact, where were you during the game at all? You hit that 1-3, and I remember he hit it, and I thought, all right, this is when James is gonna start going James, because that's usually how it happens. He hits a step back with a hand in his face, and now he gets rolling. Nah, he hit that 1-3, and he missed like his next 6 shots, turned the ball over, didn't play defense. KD and Kyrie went absolute crazy. No matter if I'm sorry, I'm lying. Kevin Durant didn't. Nah, I'm lying. No, I thought no. Philly, Kevin Durant didn't do anything. This game, Kevin did. He came out the gates hot. I think he was like 5 for 5, and he set the tone. And the person to feed off of that energy was Seth Curry, and you saw it immediately. After every shot that boy hit, somebody got stared at, whether it was a fan, whether it was someone on the bench, whether it was the coach, whether he was all of the above. Somebody heard some shit from Seth Curry after every shot. And I think he finished the game with like 24, 26 points, something like that. He even had one shot where he hit 3, turned around to the bench. And it's a little funny because as they called the timeout, it kind of looked like he was walking to the bench like he forgot he didn't play for them. But before the timeout was called, you could see he still had, I don't want to say animosity, but he definitely had a point to prove in that game. You know, I forgot who I was mentioning it to after that game. It might have been my girlfriend Victoria. I was like, he was involved in the trade, and he didn't necessarily have to be traded whatsoever. You know, in my opinion, Ben Simmons for James Harden, I don't want to say that's good enough, but they're both all NBA caliber. So to add Seth Curry, that's just like a little sweetener for Brooklyn. So he didn't have to be involved in that trade. So for him to go to Brooklyn, come to Philly, shit on them. Also, they both had great games and they shitted on them. Then you look at Philadelphia. Joel showed up. Tyrese, no. James looked like he was ready to go party that night with Travis and Meek Mill. Whoever was in that fucking party.
He was out with Lil Baby. He was seen out with Lil Baby.
It was Lil, and then I said Meek Mill because it was in Philly, but I saw it too. It was Lil Baby. I'm assuming Meek had to be there if he couldn't busy. And I saw Travis Scott. So it looked like even in the game, after he hit that 3, he just checked out. And that's something we've seen him do plenty of times in Houston. You know, he had that game in Oklahoma against San Antonio where he brought them back. And that's what made us really believe James could be that guy. And he got his opportunity to do that. And I'm not going to act like he didn't have his moments of greatness. You know, he averaged 30 basically his entire time in Houston. But when they needed you the most, you were like the Avatar, my nigga. He was gone.
So just
I don't say Philadelphia game, but that's what it looked like to me. And I'm scared that he might end up doing that during the playoffs. And that could ruin Philadelphia's timeline. What was the last thing you heard?
I don't think he necessarily, it was something along those lines. That he's scared or something.
I don't think he won't. I'm not saying he won't necessarily show up in the playoffs because of this one game. Like I said, it's a regular season game, so I didn't put too much into it. But him not showing up in what we would call big games isn't something he hasn't done before. And I'm afraid he'll do this again during the playoffs, and that'll mess up Joel and the Philadelphia 76ers future. You know, because we've seen James Harden be real quick to say, I'm not happy, I'm out of here. You know, he got to Houston. I love Daryl Morey, thanks for this. A couple years later, I did everything I could, I'm gone. Gets to Brooklyn, all smiles, everyone's happy, you drop a triple-double in your first game. The very next season, the minute you get some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, adversity, you fold. You literally don't want to play anymore. And I get it. You know, he says he wanted to go to Philadelphia from the start, but that doesn't excuse your childish behavior in Brooklyn.
I'm actually glad that you brought that up. That leads to like what me and Justin are talking about, like off screen, like the similarities of Westbrook and Harden. So like we can first let's look at their accomplishments. They both have an MVP. One has a scoring title. One has an assist title. The same year that Westbrook got his triple-double, he broke the triple-double record. Harden was like right there behind him.
Mm-hmm.
The last 3 years, they've been on 3 to 4 teams. Each player's biggest problem is they can't change their way of playing.
Mm-hmm. And their attitudes towards the game has been detrimental at times, to say the least.
Yeah.
Like everything you said, like everything you said about Philly was the one thing I was scared Harden would do. He would dribble the whole shot clock, try to do what he do, step back, 3, clank, run up the floor again, dribble, step back, 3, clank. Now, since you like are struggling, you're not really moving the ball. You're just doing you. So what you do is you rely on Embiid. You just pass it down low to Embiid. They're just doubling Embiid. And since you don't have another way to score, you're just standing around. So now it's 4-on-5. And you're just a lazy player at that point.
I agree. I can't disagree with anything. I think we just here to bring up the similarities.
You know, like
it gets
like
hard.
The only difference between Westbrook and Harden is that Harden can shoot threes. We know he can shoot. It's just that when he's off, it looks horrible.
Yeah.
And for him, it looks like there's no way of fixing it because he just doesn't do anything. He gets lazy on defense. He just starts walking around.
I want to look at exactly what he did in that game. 11 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals.
I'm about to say 13.
The game before that, he played 38 minutes. He played 29. So after 29 minutes, Doc Rivers could tell, all right, this nigga don't want to be here. He don't even want to be in this game. We already down by like 50. He waved in the towel, and I'm just afraid we're gonna see this Harden in the playoffs. That's at a moment where they really can afford to do that.
That's the only Harden we've ever seen in the playoffs.
Now imagine if we see Brooklyn and Philly in the playoffs. Ben Simmons is going to be involved. That nigga's gonna play. He's gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he's not, let's say he takes another step back in scoring, because he did that, I believe, last season when the season or last season with the playoffs, I believe he did take a step back in scoring. I think he went from like 17 to 15 or like 17 to 13, something like that. But he took a step on defense. Let's say Ben decides, I don't even want to shoot. I just want to take 5 layups a game and average 10 points. I think that's good enough.
That's perfectly
to
fine.
go
that's all they
with
need
his defense, because he still has KD. If the New York doesn't figure out the situation, or if not even New York, if Kyrie can't get that situated, either get the vaccine or they somehow somewhere down the line allow him to play, even if he's not there for 2-3 games in Brooklyn, you still have Kevin Durant who can give you 50. You have Seth Curry, who we saw he can step up. He's very capable of stepping up. He even showed that when he was in Portland when they made their playoff run. Andre Drummond, he's not the greatest, but he knows what his role is in Brooklyn. He understands. I'm just getting boards.
Rebound.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, coming from a Laker fan, the effort he showed on defense that game, I fucking wish he decided to show that when he was with us. It might have helped a little bit, just a little bit.
It would have helped a lot.
But I feel like a series like that, let's say it's tied 2-2 in Philadelphia. Can James Harden really afford to do that?
No.
Or let's not even say 2-2. Let's say it's 3-2.
No.
No, matter of fact, no. It would be more like a 2-2 scenario based off the record-wise. And if it's a 3-2, then that's just Brooklyn coming out the gates. Matter of fact, yeah. Phillies is the higher seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's say the beginning of the series, Brooklyn goes to Philly and they take those first 2.
It might be over.
That's all.
Because James Harden is going to play the same way.
Right.
Exactly. We've seen what he does when it's just looking bad.
And Doc hasn't really shown.
Remember San Antonio? They were down 3-2 at Houston. All James had to do was have one more good game to keep his series alive. Did he have like 10 turnovers?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't even think Kawhi played that game.
Wait, the same game he got blocked? Was that the same game he got blocked?
No, that was the game before. And they were in San Antonio for that one. They went back to Houston. All they had to do was win this last one to keep their series alive. And if I'm more than positive, they had the higher seed, so they would have had Game 7 in Houston again. And James goes out and has 10 turnovers. All I'm saying is, if he does this in the future, whether it's this playoff series or if he does sign this extension and it's next playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens. Because at this point, we can call it it's a pattern.
Honest, right. To be honest, I think it had came up. It's always going to be a thing that's going to follow him throughout his career. But I think for Philly now, this is a great indication of, all right, you're not going to have good games with this man. So what are we going to do that's going to help us still succeed when he's not having the best of games?
Because I'm pretty sure Joel didn't shoot the best either, but he still finished with like 25 or whatnot.
I think they also need to figure out how to implement Tobias Harris better in the offense with everybody. Because if he's the third star, you can't keep having his points this low. Because I think ever since James got there, he's been down like 5 to 4 points.
And then even before James got there, his scoring, like his efficiency went down this season.